obviously you got three that are pretty obvious. Who were the other two?
Yeah, we had those three guys on the same team for a stretch, and the other two guys rotated throughout practice. There was a lot of different combinations that we looked at, and we'll continue to change that up from game to game, or practice to practice.
No revelation there.
No revelation, sorry.
Mike?
Yeah, Frank, all of the ideas that you might have had, right, with this new roster that you spent all summer with your coaching staff going over, how does that start to get put in? Like, what did you see today that was interesting or need for you to see in person?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is getting all the new guys up to speed with our defensive principles. I think it's important for us to build an elite defense around these three great offensive players. So that's the first thing. Well, we did look at a few different ways to really build the running habit. We want to be the best fast breaking team in the NBA. We have dynamic players, and then adding a guy like Russ, the speed that he brings to the table, we want to support him, and get everybody running. That's when we're going to be at our best. That's when we were at our best 2 years ago, when we led the league in fast break points. And I think those two things, along with some different early offense looks, that we put in, they're a little bit different than who we were last year to try to open things up.
And you just mentioned Russ. Just wondering, Frank, if there's anything that a little bit similar to the first question, where okay, you know what he's like, but now you see him in practice for your team, if anything stands out.
Yeah, it's noticeable how different the speed looks. A, in front of you in practice, in live, and B, on your side. Like it's really exciting. I'm going to be honest. That myself, our whole coaching staff, he's just a blur out there. With his open court speed and even half court downhill speed. It's something that we're all really excited about. His first practice, he was basically a paint to grate factory. He was just getting in the paint and finding people either for lobs or threes. All practice long, and it's something that's very encouraging.
All right, we'll go to Bill on Zoom, please.
Hi, Frank.
Bill.
You've talked in the past about the need for sacrifice from all three of your guys, but Russ is obviously the new piece here. Are there things that you are asking him to do differently from the last few years, or ways you're asking him to adjust his game to make it work?
Not really. I think everybody on the team has to play team basketball. And we're going to try to tailor our offensive system in particular, to each of our players' skill sets. But he's got to play within our defensive schemes and fundamentals and assignments. Honestly, what we're asking him to do is consistent with who he's been the last few years, and that's attack in the open court and be that dynamic guy when he has the ball, but also. Bron and Russ together, have to play off of each other. When the ball's outletted to Bron, Russ has got to fly. When the ball's outletted to Russ, Bron's going to fly. And, that's the best way to complement those guys. But it's really about just getting up to speed with how with our culture, how we play, and then being himself.
All right, Dan?
Frank, how different, how do you want to handle this preseason? I know last year was just sort of like, let's get through it and start to manage like heavily things. Like, are you anticipating playing guys in preseason games? How hard are you going in practice? What's sort of the roadmap for that?
Yeah, we're starting hard with practice. We're going to go after it. Tonight will be a lot of system implementation, no contact but full speed. And in terms of the preseason games, just striking a balance. Like our main guys are not going to play all the games. I don't want to put a number on how many they're going to play, but it'd be nice to, probably get at least 2 games where, our core is playing significant minutes together, if not the whole game. But it's just a matter of striking a balance. The 6 games gives us the luxury to play some of the guys toward the end of the bench too and get a better look at them.
Okay.
Frank, AD missed, I think, 36 games because of injury last year, but even in the games he played, I don't think by the eye test looked like the same player he was that helped you guys win a championship. How much is it on him as an individual to get back to the level, and how much is it on, he was talking about guys like Russ and Rondo and LeBron pushing him, and also the coaching staff putting him in positions to succeed? Excuse me.
Yeah, well, we all have to push each other. not just Anthony. The coach is gonna push all our guys, our star guys, our role playing guys. They'll be pushed by us, and and they'll be pushed by their teammates as well. I think Anthony doesn't, quite frankly, need a whole lot of that. He's very motivated to have a bounce back year from what happened last year, and we're all disappointed, that he wasn't able to be at his best due to the injuries and the lack of the off season. But he's definitely put in the work this off season. He looks really good, and we'll all be pushing each other.
All right, Kyle.
Both Russell and AD seem really revved up by the competitiveness of the practice. And Rondo said yesterday, Russ and I look to destroy each other. And obviously there's so many strong personalities in this gym. What stands out to you about competitiveness level? And are there times where, as a coach, you got to pull that in? It's like, hey, save for the games, or
the only time you got to pull it in is when they get too consumed with the officiating, which did happen from time to time today, which was fully expected. But the practice was really like, let's do as much quick drill work to sort of implement our system, and then get playing 5-on-5 as quickly as possible. So we did play a lot of 5-on-5 today. There was a lot of competitive spirit on display. It was exciting to watch, and for the most part, guys weren't too paralyzed with what we're trying to do system wise, and we're able to just play with randomness and flow, and it was fun to watch.
A little bit of a follow up there. You mentioned the officiating. I'm wondering, said it's to be expected. Are there parts of officiating that you're trying to mix in sort of the new emphasis and the new rules that they're going to call? Okay.
Yeah, we're just calling fouls, and our competitive guys don't like to be called for fouls.
We have time for two more, BT.
What's it going to be like to have a target on your back this season, and how do you embrace that? Is it challenging?
What was the first part of that?
What's the point of having a target on your back? I mean, you're the Lakers.
Oh,
you got
yeah.
LeBron, you got AD, you have Russ. You've been through this before, but how do you kind of deal with that day by day, game by game?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to face it all year. It's probably a bigger target this year than ever. Although when we come out of the gate strong in year one, the target was there, and when we won the championship, the target was there. So our group is used to it. It's quite frankly something that we welcome. It makes for tougher nights because you get big performances from teams that play above themselves. But the result of that is you're pushed every night. You know what I mean? If you're pushed every night, then you have to be sharp, and you want to be challenged. If you're challenged like that, you're going to reach a higher level. So it's something that we welcome. It will lead to some losses from time to time with teams playing above themselves against the Lakers because they have the target. But those are regular season things that ultimately in the long run sharpen you.
All right, last question, Jovan.
Hey Frank, what were the first impressions of the Russ AD pick and roll, and what are you looking for from LeBron when he's off the ball in those scenarios?
Well, Bron does it all. Obviously he's grown so much in the last few years with his 3-ball, so he can spot up and punish over helps in that way. But obviously a dynamic cutter as well. Bron with Russ and AD, it's just about screening angles and just getting that 2-man chemistry between each other with pocket passes or lobs. The reads and all those types of things. That are going to take place. There's a couple of situations we looked at today. That they look really good together, and it's just something that will grow throughout the year.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Coach.